roots. Okay, and so first of all, there's an example of an nth root right there. Okay, n is called our index. That can be any number. It could be 1, it could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 4. Okay, and so that is what we call our index. We have the radical sign, which is just a square root sign, and we have the radicand. Okay, the radicand is the number that sits inside the radical. And so we are going to find a lot of principal roots today. And a principal root is a non-negative root. Okay, so you can actually have a positive and a negative root, but we're just going to be finding the principal roots. And so we've got a chart taken from your book that we're going to look at on the next slide. Okay, and there we have real nth roots. And so first of all, if a is greater than 0, okay, we get one unique positive and one unique negative real root. The positive root is always the principal root. Okay, if n is odd, we only get one unique positive and 0 negative real roots. If a is less than 0, we don't get any real roots. If n is odd, we get 0 positive and 1 negative real root. And this isn't going to probably make a whole lot of sense right now, okay, until we look at these. Okay, and if a is 0, you get 1 real root, and that will actually be 0. Okay. So, real quick, we're going to look at this. It says to simplify. So since we don't have a number written out here, this is always implied to be a 2. So real quick, we're going to be taking the square root of 16 and the square root of y to the 4th. Well, what do we know the square root of 16 is? 4. Y to the 4th. Now the question is, how do I find out what the square root of y to the 4th is? This is the easy way. Since this is implied to be a 2 right here, all I'm going to do is take 4, my exponent here, and divide it by this number. And what does it come out to be? 2. So there you go. That is your answer.
Does it get harder?
Well, we'll see. I mean, they'll get a little more difficult. So let's look at this next one. So once again, this is implied to be a 2. I have plus or minus. Can somebody tell me what this will be?
6x to the 5th.
6x to the 5th. Very good. There you go. Okay, we got to 5 because we took 10 and divided it by 2. Let's go ahead and look at the next slide.
And this doesn't look as easy.
Okay, now, if we look at this next one, I have a quantity to the 8th power. So this is really similar to if I had this. I mean, it's the same thing, except for in place of x, I've now got this entire quantity. No, you don't distribute the 8 to the x squared and the 6. That is a quantity, you leave it alone. So we've always said what number's out here if there's none written? 2. So really, I'm going to end up having x squared minus 6, that entire quantity, to what power? The 4th. And there you go, and that's it. So it looked a lot worse than it was. It really wasn't that bad. Yes, that's it. Okay. Let's look at the next one. With that in mind, can you tell me what the next one will be? Y plus 7 to what power? The 8th. There you go. Because once again, this was to the 16th power, so all I'm going to do is do 16 divided by 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this one. Okay, now this one is no different than the ones we just got done looking at, except for instead of it being a 2 outside, what is it now?
5.
A 5. So I'm going to break things down by 5s. And so there is an easy way you can do that for the 243, because really what I'm doing is the 5th root of 243. Okay, so if you didn't know that, what we could do is just break down 243. I know that this is 3 and 81, right? Okay, I know that 81 is 9 and 9. Okay, I know that 9 is 3 and 3, 3 and 3. So let's count up how many 3s do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I have a 5 out here, remember I can take out groups of 5. So I'm going to take out the 3, and there's nothing left inside. So now remember what I said. We now, for the A, look at exponents. So I have the 20, and I have the 5. So remember what I said we do with those? And what do we get? Okay, good.
Okay, I changed my answer.
All right, b to the what power?
Fifth.
Fifth, there you go. All right, this is the last one we're going to look at today, the square root of negative 16 x to the 4th y to the 8th. So I want you to go ahead and try to do that on your own. Okay? If you don't know a specific part of it, just do the ones you know how to do.
You got our house. You got our house.
First, I
I
walked
was
downstairs and the first thing I
I know
asked,
you
I was
did.
ringing Lucas.
I was like,
I just saw this.
All right, so we already have answers.
Oh, wait.
All right, so does somebody have an answer for me? What'd you get?
Plus minus 4x squared y fourth I.
You know what? I'll take everything you said except for the plus or minus. Okay? So, there's no plus or minus sign outside here. So that's why there's none on the inside. Nice job with the I, guys. Okay, if you didn't catch that, it's basically the square root of negative 16, the square root of x to the 4th, and the square root of y to the 8th. That's another way you can look at it. We know that the square root of negative 16 is 4i, so those match up. Okay, we know the square root of x to the 4th, remember that's a 2 out here, so you just divide, 4 divided by 2, and 8 divided by 2, and so this is what you end up with. Okay?
So the I cannot be at the end. It has to be by the 4.
You probably could put the I at the end. I would just assume have them together, okay? Because it's kind of like the numbers and then the variables. Okay? Alrighty, we're going to call that good for today. Here's what your assignment is. Now, if you want to go ahead and turn in your book to page 410, we're going to talk a little bit about what you can do and probably what you cannot do at this point. Okay, right now, you're going to be able to do quite a bit. Okay, now tomorrow we're going to pick up and do some other stuff. We're going to add some other stuff to this assignment, but you're going to be able to do a lot of your assignment. Okay, it does have some calculator problems. You can go ahead and try and do those if you want. Otherwise, we'll look at those tomorrow. Okay, but you'll be able to do quite a bit of your homework. And like I said, we have a few more slides and we'll finish those up tomorrow.